Heroes in History. How did the United States grow? Read to you by Carol Brigham. The United States is the third largest country in the world. The land area of the U.S. is 3,718,711 square miles. Only Russia and Canada are larger than the U.S. How did the United States get so big? The original 13 states. After a war with France in 1754, Britain claimed land from the east coast of North America all the way to the Mississippi River. Britain made a treaty with the Indians who lived west of the Appalachian Mountains. Britain promised the Indians that British colonists would not move west of the Appalachians. 13 of the British colonies wanted to be free from Britain. They fought a war against Britain. They became independent states in 1781. They stayed united to form a new country, the United States of America. After the Treaty of Paris in 1783, Britain gave all of the land west of the Appalachian Mountains to the Mississippi River to the United States. Americans started moving west to get free farmland. The Louisiana Purchase. Farmers in the northwestern part of the new country used boats to send their goods down the Mississippi River. From New Orleans, the boats could take the food and other goods around Florida to cities on the East Coast. The U.S. did not own New Orleans. The farmers wanted the U.S. to buy New Orleans from France. President Thomas Jefferson asked France to sell New Orleans to the U.S. At that time, the French Emperor, Napoleon, was planning a war with Great Britain. He needed money. In 1803, he sold New Orleans plus all of Louisiana, see map, for $15 million. The Louisiana Purchase doubled the size of the United States. President Jefferson sent explorers Lewis and Clark to see what the land was like. A young Indian woman, Sacagawea, was one of their guides. The border with Canada. In 1818, the U.S. and Great Britain agreed on the boundary between Canada and the central part of the United States. It would be the 49th parallel. Florida. In 1819, the U.S. paid $5 million to Spain for Florida. Removing Indians. More people kept coming to America from Europe. They wanted land and freedom. Everyone had big families. The population of the United States grew quickly. White farmers wanted land that belonged to Indians in North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. President Andrew Jackson ordered Indians in those states to move west to Indian Territory in Oklahoma. In 1832, the U.S. Army forced Indian men, women, and children to walk 1,000 miles to Oklahoma. Many Indians died from sickness and cold on the way. Indians called this the Trail of Tears. Texas Revolution. Spain had many colonies in North, Central, and South America. Mexico was the largest colony. In 1821, Mexico won its War of Independence from Spain. Texas was a part of Mexico. Many Americans moved to Texas. By 1836, there were more Americans than Mexicans in Texas. The Texans and Americans fought for independence from Mexico. Texas became an independent country. Texas asked the U.S. to annex it. After 9 years, in 1845, Texas became part of the U.S. War with Mexico. The Mexican government did not want Texas to belong to the United States. The Mexican army attacked American soldiers in Texas. The U.S. declared war on Mexico. Mexico lost the war. In the treaty after the war, 1848, 40% of Mexico became part of the United States. The present states of New Mexico, Arizona, California, Colorado, Utah, and Nevada. The U.S. paid $18.3 million to Mexico. Oregon Territory. The Oregon Territory was north of California. The explorers Lewis and Clark had claimed this land for the United States. However, Britain also claimed that land. There was almost a war about it. Finally, in 1846, the two countries agreed that the 49th parallel would be the boundary between the United States and British Columbia. This matched the boundary set with Canada in 1818. The Gold Rush. In 1849, gold was discovered in California. Thousands of Americans and people from Europe rushed to California to look for gold. Many of them crossed the continent by horse and wagon. Others sailed around South America to get to California. The West began to fill up with people who hoped to get rich. More land from Mexico. In 1853, the U.S. bought a piece of land from Mexico. This land was called the Gadsden Purchase. The U.S. paid Mexico $10 million. This land became part of Arizona and New Mexico. Alaska. Alaska was part of Russia. It did not touch any part of the U.S. In 1867, Russia needed money. It was afraid that it would lose Alaska in a war with Great Britain. Russia sold Alaska to the United States for $7.2 million. Alaska was 2 times as large as Texas. Many Americans thought that it was a big mistake to buy Alaska. People said it was just a big land of ice and snow. In 1897, gold was discovered in Alaska. Another gold rush started. Later, oil was also discovered there. Alaska became the 49th state in January 1959. Hawaii. Many Americans crossed the Pacific Ocean to live in Hawaii. In 1893, they fought against Hawaii's queen. They formed a new government. These Americans asked the U.S. to annex Hawaii. In 1898, Congress and President McKinley signed the law that made Hawaii a territory of the United States. It became America's 50th state in 1959. Puerto Rico. The Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Cuba were colonies of Spain. In 1898, Cubans started to fight for their independence. The U.S. went to war against Spain to help the Cubans. Spain lost the war. Cuba became independent. The U.S. bought Puerto Rico and Guam from Spain for $20 million. The U.S. took control of the Philippine Islands, too. The Philippines became independent in 1946. Puerto Rico is now a self-governing commonwealth of the United States. Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. Guam is an unincorporated territory of the U.S. Guam has some local government power. Residents of Guam are also U.S. citizens. The Panama Canal. At one time, the U.S. controlled the Panama Canal Zone. U.S. engineers built a canal there in 1903. In 1999, the U.S. gave control of the canal zone back to the country of Panama. Islands. The U.S. annexed the Midway Islands in 1867. It annexed Wake Island in 1899. In 1917, the U.S. bought 3 of the Virgin Islands from Denmark for $25 million. After World War II, the U.S. became responsible for some Western Pacific islands. The Northern Mariana Islands are now a commonwealth of the U.S. The Marshall Islands, the Federated States of Micronesia, and Palau are now independent countries in free association with the United States. For more information about Easy English News, and to subscribe to our digital version or our paper copies, visit our website, easyenglishnews.com. If you like this video, please make sure you like it and subscribe to our channel for more. Thank you.